Jiu-jitsu has three major cultures woven into it now. The dominant one is Brazilian, but its forebears were Japanese, and now there's some American influence. So it's a multicultural thing. There are many ways to control someone. Okay, positional control is one form of control. It's arguably the most important form, but it's one of many forms of control. There's control through balance or kazushi. Okay, there's grip control. There's reaction speed control. There's many forms of control, and I believe it's more accurate to talk about control leading to submission rather than just position. Because there's many ways to submit people who don't rely on position at all. Okay, just different forms of control. So whenever I talk, you don't hear me talking much about position before submission. Right? That is an important concept to teach a beginner, but there's deeper concepts that people can learn in that. You want to be precise with your language.
Yeah.
You know, I've always found in life that the more precise you are with your descriptions, the more precise you'll be with your movements. You see this in every aspect of life. Imagine you and I were fixing a car engine, okay? And I'm like, hand me the cylindrical thing with the white top and the gray bottom with the wire sticking out of it. And you're like, and you start looking around for the white cylindrical thing with the wire sticking. And what if I could just say to you, hey man, pass me the spark plug? Okay, now you know exactly what I mean. And so precision in language, a precise terminology, enables you to operate more efficiently. And that's how you have to be with your grappling. That's why I always insist on nomenclature. My students speak a language so that I can communicate very quickly to them. Okay, I need left side cross arch. Knows exactly what I want. What I'm looking for with terminology is first, I don't care what names you use, to be honest with you, but you do have to have names.
Right.
Okay, so you and I can communicate quickly. Okay, we have to be able to use language to our advantage. If I'm going to communicate to you and reduce the time it takes to teach you, I need to teach you in a language. Now, what language did I choose? Well, that depends on the situation. I always try to honor the people who made the sport, and you know, it's called Brazilian Jiu-jitsu, but a big part of it came from Japan. The truth is that Jiu-jitsu has three major cultures woven into it now. The dominant one is Brazilian, but its forebears were Japanese, and now there's some American influence. So it's a multicultural thing. Where it's appropriate, I try to incorporate Japanese terms just as a mark of respect. But there's also times I deliberately do not use Japanese terms. Like the correct Japanese term for the Kimura lock is urigurami. Okay, but if I'm in a crowded amphitheater with the crowd going crazy, and I start calling urigurami, phonetically, it's too close to ashigurami. So my student might not understand what the hell I'm saying. Did he call for urigurami or ashigurami? I didn't hear it. It's too noisy in here. So if phonetically names are too close, then I won't use the Japanese term. So I use kimura, the same way the Brazilians do, even though technically it's the incorrect term. So there's a mix of practical and I guess honorific reasons why I use certain terms. Where I believe it's appropriate, I try to honor the old masters of the sport. Certain moves were not made in Japan, like the berimbolo is purely Brazilian. So of course I use the Portuguese term. So wherever the move originated from, if I can, I try to honor the people that made it. If that's not practical, because phonetically it might be confusing in an amphitheater, in a crowded arena when I'm trying to call instructions, then I will change things and make it so. So there's practical and cultural reasons why I choose terms, but all that's beside the point. You just got to have a language. We have to be able to communicate effectively, clearly, where I can call commands to you and you can immediately react to them in the appropriate fashion. And that's the basic demand. In particular, the submission holds that I believe are the most high percentage submission holds in the sport. Ashigurami-based leg locks, variations of strangles from front headlock position, mostly the guillotine, rear naked strangles, which are the most high percentage of them all, the armbar, jujikatami, the triangle stranglehold, and kimura. Okay, so most of my work is centered around 6 submission holds. And I try to build elaborate systems around those submission holds. Then there's the whole idea of positions can also be worked in a systematic fashion. Certain positions, not all of them. For example, closed guard is a pretty localized part of the sport. Okay, when you lock someone in a closed guard, it tends to limit movement. And so this is an area which could be realistically systematized. Okay, because it's the options that both athletes have are rather limited in that position. So it's entirely feasible to systematize it. But open guard, it's just not feasible. Way too many variables. It's all happening too quickly. So in those situations, you can't offer a system, but you can offer a broad set of brush strokes. Okay, this is what you should be aiming for in these situations, etc., etc. So certain parts of the sport, submission holds and some positions can be systematized. Half guard is a good example. You can systematize half guard. You can do it with closed guard. But open guard as a whole, it's going to be tough to systematize that. Okay, guard retention, it's going to be hard to systematize it. You can give broad recommendations, you can give principles and concepts, but it's hard to give you a step 1, step 2, step 3 system for that. So the basic idea here is we have an overarching system, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, as it was always understood, and my input to the sport was to say that we can enhance performance by incorporating subsystems within that where appropriate. Submission holds, some positional areas, and done in this way, athletes can find the same advantages in these little subsystems and tying them together that Jiu-Jitsu players found in the early days of mixed martial arts, when that simple 4-step system always gave them a sense of direction that would prove to be so valuable in a fight. Think about fighting and combat in general. What's the single most common experience you have whenever you're in a combative situation or a fight? It's failure. You try something, and 9 times out of 10 it fails. So the thing that you have to be able to accommodate is failure. That's the most common occurrence. Try for every 10 moves you try against someone your own size and your own skill level, you can pretty much reliably figure that 8 or 9 times it's going to fail. And so the ability to deal with failure is really the #1 priority that you want to build upon as a combat athlete. And that's exactly what a system does.